You know, we're all looking for something, right? A way to be happy, to find some peace, to just not feel so dissatisfied all the time. It's a universal human thing. But what if one of the most powerful answers to that search came from a journey that started over 2,500 years ago, with a man who literally gave up a kingdom to find it? And that's the big question, isn't it? What if the problem isn't out there, but in here? This is the very question that pushed a prince to walk away from everything he knew. It became the whole frame for his life and for the revolutionary ideas he would eventually share with the world. So, to really get who the awakened one was, we've got to go back to the beginning, to the man he was before the legend. He was a prince, living in what you could only call a gilded cage, completely and totally shielded from the real world. See, our story, it doesn't kick off with some god or an ancient myth. It starts with a real person, a man of flesh and blood, Siddhartha Gautama. And he wasn't just anybody. He was a prince, born into royalty, seemingly set for a life of nothing but power and endless pleasure. So Siddhartha's early life, it was basically a fantasy, totally engineered by his father, the king, to protect him from any hint of pain or hardship. But reality has a way of crashing the party. When he finally ventured outside the palace walls, he saw four things that just shattered his perfect world. He saw an old man, a sick man, and a dead body. For the first time, the reality of suffering hit him like a ton of bricks. But then he saw the fourth sight, a calm, peaceful ascetic. And that planted a seed of hope, a question. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way out. And this quote, man, it just perfectly captures what was happening inside him. He started seeing the palace not as a paradise, but as a prison. This feeling became so overwhelming that he made one of the most radical decisions imaginable. He decided to leave, to renounce his title, his fortune, his family, even his own newborn son, to find a real answer to this universal problem of suffering. But leaving the palace, that was just step one. What came next was a grueling 6-year-long quest for the truth, a journey where he would push his body and his mind to their absolute limits. And his search was, wow, it was intense. First, he went to the most famous spiritual teachers of his day, and he mastered everything they taught him about meditation. But deep down, he knew it wasn't the final answer. So what does he do? He swings the pendulum to the complete opposite extreme. He starts punishing his body, starving himself, enduring incredible pain, until he was practically a walking skeleton. So think about it. He tried the high life, the life of total pleasure. And he tried the life of extreme self-denial. And guess what? Neither had worked. Both were dead ends. And then came this incredible moment. A village girl offered him a simple bowl of rice pudding, and he accepted it. It was this profound act of self-kindness, and it marked the end of his harsh practices. His 5 ascetic buddies, they were horrified. They thought he'd given up, and they left him, all alone. But here's the thing. He hadn't given up. Not at all. In fact, he had just stumbled upon the real start of the path, a path of radical balance. And this was his big breakthrough. He called it the middle way. It's not about torturing yourself, and it's not about chasing every pleasure. It's about finding that sweet spot, that balanced path in the middle that actually allows your mind to become clear and calm. So armed with this totally new perspective, he finds a pipal tree, what we call the Bodhi tree, and he sits down. No more searching out there, no more extreme practices. He just turned his attention completely inward and made a promise to himself. I will not get up from this spot until I find the truth. And right there, in that deep, deep state of meditation, he did it. He finally saw it all with perfect clarity, the real cause of suffering and the path to its end. He woke up. And with that profound awakening, Siddhartha Gautama was no longer just a man. He had earned a new title, the Buddha, which literally means the one who is awake. Okay, so he's had this incredible, life-changing awakening, but it wasn't just for him. The Buddha's next move was to figure out how to package this discovery into a clear, practical path that literally anyone could follow. And the way he framed his discovery, it's brilliant. It's basically like a doctor's prescription for the human condition. Step 1, the diagnosis. Life has this baseline level of dissatisfaction, of suffering, called dukkha. Step 2, the cause. It comes from our own minds, from our constant craving, clinging, and pushing away. Step 3, the prognosis. And this is the good news. This condition is treatable. And finally, step 4, the prescription. Follow the noble Eightfold Path. Now, this isn't some list of strict do's and don'ts.
Think of it more like a complete training program for your mind. It covers your ethics, how you think, how you focus, the whole shebang. It's a practical guide for training yourself to see the world as it really is, without all the distortions our desires and fears create.
Now, at the very core of his teaching is this really mind-bending idea, anatta, or no self. The idea is that if you look really, really closely, there's no solid, permanent you to be found. I mean, think about it. Your thoughts are always changing, your feelings come and go, even the cells in your body are constantly being replaced. What we call me is actually just an ever-shifting process. And why is that so important? Well, if there's no fixed self that you have to protect and please 24/7, the very root of all our clinging and suffering starts to dissolve.
So, what happens after a discovery that huge? Well, the Buddha didn't just sit there and keep it to himself. He got up from under that tree and started a whole new journey to share the path he had found with the world.
And he did just that. For the next 45 years, that's a huge chunk of a lifetime, the Buddha just walked. He traveled all across the plains of India, teaching this path to anyone who would listen. Didn't matter if you were a king in a palace or a servant in the street, he had a way of making it make sense to you.
And his influence just exploded, way beyond the people who would call themselves Buddhists. Other major world religions actually integrated him into their own systems. In Hinduism, he's seen as an incarnation of the god Vishnu. In other traditions, he was seen as a divine prophet. It's just a testament to the incredible power of his life and his message.
And, of course, over the centuries, his teachings didn't stay in one box. They branched out into these incredibly rich and diverse traditions we see today, like Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. They all have their own unique flavors, but they all trace their lineage right back to that one man and his awakening under a tree in India. And these are said to be his very last words. That word sankharas, it basically means all compounded things, everything that's made up of other parts. So he's saying, look, everything changes, nothing lasts forever. And because of that, it's on you. It's up to each and every one of us to work towards our own liberation with real effort and focus. And that really brings us full circle, doesn't it? His final message wasn't a promise that someone else would save you. It was a direct challenge, a call to personal responsibility. It's an invitation to look honestly at our own minds, to understand our own struggles, and to actively, diligently walk a path toward a clearer, more peaceful way of being. And what you do with that challenge, well, that's entirely up to you.